Good morning, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to the Fearless Morning Show. And we are having confessions and conversations about your everyday life. My name is Yamitra Jojo Waddell, the only Live Past Crazy specialist. So what better place to be than here with me? Good morning, Miss Leah. Now let me grab one thing. Hold on 1 second. Let me grab one thing. All right. Good. I had to grab my water. Good morning. Good morning. Hope you guys are ready to get this Tuesday started. Hope you're ready to get your day started. Hope you had a great day on yesterday. And I hope this pollen is not getting you. It is killing me. Like, it's beautiful. I love the springtime. But these allergies are killing me. All right, so let's go straight into the quote of the day. Please make sure you share the show because sharing is caring. If your friends and family don't have Facebook, send them over to the YouTube channel. They can binge watch all the Fearless Morning shows over there. So please make sure you do that. All right, so let's go with I have two quotes today because I couldn't decide. One is, hold on, let me move it this way. You change the world by changing yourself. And that's by Yoko Ono. I guess I'm saying that right. You change the world by changing yourself. And the other one is, in order to write about life, first you must live it. And we talked about that yesterday. About you only have, 2 lives, and the second one begins the minute that you realize you only have one. And then, just being brave enough to work that out. So today, y'all, so my thought for today, before I even read anything, because usually I have it planned out or it's in my mind, and mine was accepting joy. That was my fearless thought of the day. And then I read in a book the difference between joy and happiness. And I was like, oh, if I want to talk about accepting joy, and I need to talk about joy and happiness, because even though this is a journey of a lifetime that we're on and we're learning all these new and wonderful things about ourselves, we have to have fun, and we are entitled to have a good time. We're entitled to laugh, have fun, and experience all that life has to offer to us. However, sometimes we forget. And I was like, you got to have the joy of the thing, the joy of whatever it is that you want to do. And some of us, we don't have that joy. So we're going to talk about that this morning. And I'm sharing the Fearless Morning Show to one page. Hold on 1 second. So that we can, the Fearless Morning Show can grab us over there. So I've got a first. So mine was just accepting joy, like the things that you have to do to accept joy in your life. You've got to be open. And y'all, I have been intentional. I wrote out the steps. You got to be open. You got to be understanding, blah, blah, blah. And I wrote out all these wonderful things that you have to have or to be for accepting joy, the things that you had to have. But when I read the difference between joy and happiness, I had to share it. It says joy is an internal process grounded in knowledge of spiritual truth, the ability to trust wisdom and the divine, and faith in the perfect and perfecting process of life. Happiness is a mental and emotional response to temporary external stimulation. Joy is a state of being. Happiness is a demonstration or expression based on a series of events. So how many of us are happy and don't have joy? Can you have one without the other? Doesn't that make you want to think? Joy is an emotional stimulation in response to spiritual inspiration. Happiness is a response to where you are and what happened while you are there. Happiness is the quest for temporary pleasure, and joy is the knowledge of unconditional love. Joy is the ability to stand in the knowledge of spiritual truth in the face of any and all physical experiences. I was like, what? Happiness does not give you the power to choose, create, or sustain yourself when your back is against a wall. Y'all, I was just talking about accepting joy till I read this in this book, and I was like, there's the difference between joy and happiness. Because how many of us have said, I just want to be happy? I just want to be happy, JoJo. Like, I just want to be happy. Not knowing happiness and joy are two different things. And we're getting exactly what we want because happiness is temporary. Based on a series of events that just happened to us in that moment that made us feel good, that we cling to. So we are continuously, y'all, and I'm putting this together as I'm talking about it because it's coming to me. And we're steady seeking that moment over and over and over again. Isn't that crazy? When you think about joy and happiness, if happiness is temporary just because it was how you felt because of a series of events or something that happened in that moment that made you feel a certain way and you felt it and you thought it was joy, but it was really happiness, then do you not spend the rest of your life seeking that thing? It says, joy is an internal process grounded in the knowledge of spiritual truth, the ability to trust wisdom, trust the divine, and it is faith in the perfect and perfecting process of life. Joy is a state of being. My topic was simply accepting joy, but now we got to understand what joy is. I never thought about that. I never thought about that. Any of y'all ever think about that there's a difference between joy and happiness? I know we have the song, This Joy That I Have, the world didn't give it to me. That's the only song I can think of. But am I the only one that I wasn't thinking that the difference of the two was so drastic? Because I was thinking about accepting joy. That was my fearless thought of the day. Accepting joy, like you got to be open. You got to allow yourself to receive. And you got to be thankful and grateful and, all the things that you needed. But I never knew that there was a difference between joy and happiness. Like, what is that? And happiness, it says, is the quest for temporary pleasure. Is a response to where you are and what happened to you while you were there. How many of us are seeking that happiness feeling every day in relationships, in religion, in friendships, in our jobs? Y'all, I blew my whole little mind just reading that. Happiness does not give you the power to choose, create, or sustain yourself when your back is up against the wall. Joy, by virtue of its nature, gives you the ability to stare down wolves. That's amazing. So joy and happiness, JoJo, are not the same thing. So I want to say accepting joy, know that we are allowed to accept it. Okay, know that you can accept it and you are allowed to. And you have to make room for it. And then you have to be grateful and thankful for what you have. Maybe a lot of us don't have joy and we can't even, we don't have happiness, so we can't even phantom joy because we are focused on the wrong part of our life. Meaning we're focused on the complaining part of it, right? What we don't have, what we need that we don't have, the people we don't have, the friends we don't have, the man, the woman we don't have, the job we don't have, the money we don't have. So even if there is a difference between happiness and joy, You're not allowing yourself to experience any of it. Because in accepting joy, or even the temporariness of happiness, you've got to know that you're allowed to experience all the above. Yeah, I'm getting my whole life together. It is said it is difficult to be joyous and or happy around sad people. That's why we must develop a sense of joy. Joy is a state of being fulfilled simply because you are alive. The difference in joy may seem like a small thing, but there's a difference between joy and happiness. I want us to be able to accept the joy, but if we don't understand the difference between the two, temporary. It is the result of feelings that you've had because of an action of where you are and what happened to you. And joy is internal. Joy is the knowledge of unconditional love of yourself that can't nobody give you and can't nobody take it away. But if you don't know the process of the joy, then you're not going to understand the happiness that's there. Or you're going to understand the happiness but not accept the joy. Meaning, here we go, perfect example. With you accepting the happiness of the thing, the happiness of the thing is being excited when you have that first relationship, when y'all first fall in love, or you have the happiness of when you first start a job and you're learning the things. But the joy of it is what you already had that you bring to the table to add to. So happiness is not the destination. Joy is the destination. But if I already have it, right, then I'm adding to. So happiness is just a series of events that have happened to me that make me feel good. Is that why we're always seeking out people, places, and things to make us feel good? Self-care is gangster. And it is in that self-care of yourself that you establish your joy, to understand what it is that brings you joy outside of external factors. Take away the girl, take away the man, take away the job, the money, and then establish the joy. Joy stays with you no matter where you are and what's going on. Happiness is a response to where you are and what happens to you while you're there. Happiness is the quest for temporary pleasure. I love that. Joy is an internal process grounded in spiritual truth, the ability to trust wisdom of the divine, and faith in the perfect and perfecting process of life. Joy is a state of being. Happiness is a demonstration or expression reliant on a series of events that may or may not occur. Joy is emotional stimulation in response to spiritual inspiration. Accepting joy, understanding happiness. So now let me ask this question. Does this mean we're setting ourselves up for failure when you say, JoJo, I just want to be happy. I just want to be happy. That's all I want. Like, I just want to be happy I just want to be happy in my marriage. I just want to be happy. But if happiness is a series of emotional things that have happened to you, then you will never have joy. There will be nothing to satisfy you. Right? Can we agree on that? Joy is an internal process where happiness is just a response to where you are and what happens to you while you're there. Happiness is a quest for temporary pleasure. So you can say, hey, JoJo, listen, I just want to be happy in my marriage. I just want to be happy in my job. I just want to be happy. When we should be saying, I just want joy. Joy is different than happiness. I did not know that till this morning. Because my whole topic was accepting joy. Accepting the fullness of life. Accepting the joy of life and all the things that it brings to you and what that looks like. And making room for it and experiencing life. Because we talked about that yesterday. That we're not really living life at all. And so today I thought I'd follow up with accepting the joys of life and what all that means until I read that there's a difference between joy and happiness. And why would I not share with you guys the difference? Because, right, Kim, I didn't know to 7:10 this morning. I ain't even going to tell no tale until I read the difference between joy and happiness. Because I have said I just want to be happy. I've said that. When there was a huge difference. Joy is the ability to stand in the knowledge of truth in the face of any and all physical experiences. Happiness does not give you the power to choose, create, or sustain yourself when your back is up against a wall. Joy, by virtue of its nature, gives you the ability to stare down wolves. So you mean to tell me if I'm happy, if something comes up against me, I ain't going to be able to hold on to jack nothing. But joy, which is different than happiness, by its nature allows me to stand. Doesn't that joy sound like faith a little bit? Does it not sound like the same thing? I done got whole educated this morning. So if I'm always seeking to be happy and I'm always seeking the thing, whatever the thing may be, I'm never still. I'm never... Right. Us is, oh yes. Tiffany, I say us all the time. I thought that you was using my word. Then are we not constantly moving and seeking and never still to experience joy? Right? Then am I not moving from relationship to relationship, to friendship to job, seeking that happiness that is fleeting? Because it's just simply a series of events that have happened to me that made me feel a certain way. So if there's a thank you, Leah. That's exactly what I was thinking. So there's a difference between happiness and joy. I didn't know. Here I am saying I just want to be happy. When I have joy, but I was overlooking joy altogether. Remember I told y'all that Sunday I did all that work for like 6 hours and I realized I needed to have peace and love from head to toe, and I worked on that. And I think what I was seeking was joy. And now that I have it from head to toe, peace, love, and joy, the happiness is extra on the top. The happiness is the result of what I have established. And so you have to establish it for yourself first. So if we're going to accept joy, right, and we're going to have fun with this life, and we're going to live it out, and we're going to have a good time, you've got to understand what it means for you and redefine joy and not happiness. Yes, ma'am. The foundation of joy is faith. That's what it said. Joy, by virtue of its nature, gives you the ability to stare down anything. Joy is the ability to stand in the knowledge of truth and in the face of any and all physical experience. It means that when you are challenged, your strength will become your guidance and your protection, period. Joy is the willingness to keep moving no matter what. Here go the sentence. Joy is courage to boldly go where you are advised not to go. Joy is the freedom and ability to make conscious choices in the face of seeming disaster by accepting and acknowledging that you are created. You are a created being on a divine journey, and nothing but the divine can stop you. Y'all. Good morning, Kiva. Good morning. Let me read that again. That's it. That's the definition we want. Joy is the freedom and the ability to make conscious choices in the face of a disaster, seeming disaster, but accepting and acknowledging that you are a creative being on a divine journey and that nothing but the divine can stop you. We can end the show right there. What? The difference between joy and happiness, there it is. Plain as day. Plain as day. Happiness is a response to where you are and what happens while you're there. Joy is the knowledge of unconditional. Yes, ma'am. Am I not getting my whole life over here? Because here I am thinking about, I'm just going to be talking about accepting joy and what it means. And at 7:10, I read something that just blows my mind, that there's a difference between happiness and joy. So when we're saying we just want to be happy, are we not setting ourselves up for failure? So when we tell a mate, a friend, or someone else, I just want to be happy. No, you don't. You're setting yourself up for failure. Wow. Oh my God, you got to know the difference between happiness and joy. Period. Man. You cannot have joy without happiness. You can have happiness without joy for a brief time, yes. That's why you keep looking for it. Because you can have happiness without joy. You can be excited about the series of events that gave you that certain feeling that made you happy for a moment. And then you're off for the next thing to give you that next feeling. Happiness is the quest for temporary pleasure. Yeah, happiness is fleeting where joy is sure and activated by one's faith. Come on, Miss Leah. Happiness does not give you the power to choose, create. Where did it go? I lost it. It doesn't give you any power. Period. Your strength will become your guidance, your protection, and your salvation. Joy is willingness to keep moving no matter what. Say what you want. Y'all, I've got my whole life today. So there's a big difference between joy and happiness. I want us to have all the joy, period. Here it is. Happiness does not give you the power to choose, create, or sustain yourself when your back is against the wall. Joy, by virtue of its nature, gives you the ability to stare down wolves. Joy is a state of being fulfilled simply because you are alive. The difference between joy and happiness may seem like a very small thing, but when challenges come, it can make a big difference whether you get away or you getting eaten up by the circumstances. There's a difference between joy and happiness. Joy, what's that song? And pain? No, that's Sunshine and Rain. What song is that? There's a difference. So when you're saying, but JoJo, I just want to be happy. I just want to be with a man and be happy. I just want to have a job and be happy. You're setting yourself up for failure. I just learned that this morning. We've got to have the joy first, because happiness is a quest for temporary pleasure. Thank you, Leah, so much for putting that in there. It is a quest for temporary pleasure. Happiness is just how you feel because a series of things have continued to happen to you. Happiness is a response to where you are and what happens to you while you're there. Joy is knowledge of. Good morning, Miss Chantel. How you doing? Joy is an internal process grounded in spiritual truth, the ability to trust the wisdom of the divine, and faith in the perfect and perfecting process of life. Joy is a state of being. Happiness, which is we all say we just want to be happy, is a demonstration or expression on a series of reliant on a series of events that may or may not occur. That means you can only be happy if this happens. You can only be happy because this happens. And so you will always be seeking the thing. No man will be enough. No woman will be enough. And I think I described it totally different, that you got to have the self-love first, which essentially is the joy of you understanding who you are and your foundation. You got to have that first. So it doesn't matter the man I meet. He's never, ever going to be able to love me enough to make me feel what I need to feel in order to continue. Because I'm searching for that happiness outside of myself when it's joy that I need. And happiness is just a series of events that make me feel good. That's why you always want to date somebody new. That's why you always want to talk to somebody new. That's why you're always looking for a new job. That's why nothing never works out. Because you are seeking the happiness of the thing and not understanding the joy of the thing. And then you've got to be able to accept the joys of life. Here come my polo thought, because my thought of the day was just accepting joy until I read this. So now you got to be able to accept it. So now what? Are we willing to accept it? Happy, right. Happiness is easier to attain. That's why we keep searching. That's why you keep looking for it. It's like a drug. That's why you keep looking for it. That's why. That's why we keep looking for it. Because it's temporary. It doesn't give you what you thought you wanted. That's why you can be with somebody and you be like, oh, excuse me, I changed my mind because this ain't what I wanted. Because you were seeking the happiness of it. Because the happiness of it was, oh, they took you on a trip. Oh, they bought you flowers. Oh, they said nice things. Oh, that's great. Oh, the job, they gave you a bonus. Oh, that's great. Oh, they said you could work home. That's great. But you don't have the joy of the thing. There's a difference between happiness and joy. There's a difference. So, until we realize that, will we be stuck are we going to be stuck in a circle of looking for the thing all the time? And then if we are going to be in that habit of seeking happiness, guess what will never change? And if your life does change because you are seeking happiness, it will not be able to sustain itself because the foundation of it is not strong. Period. Joy is the freedom and ability to make conscious choices in the face of seeming disaster by accepting and acknowledging that you are a created being on a divine journey and nothing but the divine can stop you. That alone should give us joy to understand what you can accomplish, right? Thank you, Tiffany. Because let me tell you, when your foundation is like this, your house and you going to be sitting like this. Ain't nothing going to be able to be stable. You ain't ever going to find the right job. Ain't no man going to satisfy you. Ain't no girl going to be enough. Your kids going to get on your nerves. Your mama, your job. You hate where you live. You going to hate everybody around you. The joy that you have has got to be your foundation. And unless you're willing to do the work Because self-care is gangster. I'm be doing a 5-day guided journey starting next week. So if you want to join me on that 5-day guided journey, where we do some self-care work. If you ain't really ready to do that work, boo, you gonna be like, JoJo, it don't take all of that. Okay. And this is what's gonna happen. You're gonna be still looking for that thing at 50. At 45, you still gonna be like, I ain't found no man because he get on my nerves and he do this. That's because you're searching for happiness. You're searching for the series of events that's going to keep happening to make you feel good. You don't have the joy established. Yes, that's it. Thank you. Well, in the song, the joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. Period. Joy is the ability to stand in the knowledge of truth and in the face of any and all physical experiences. Thank you, TT. TT's joining me. I'm excited too, y'all, for this 5-day journey. I'm excited. Happiness is the quest for temporary pleasure. Joy is the knowledge of unconditional love. Joy is the willingness to keep moving no matter what. Joy is courage to go boldly where you're advised not to go. And when you start on this journey, thank you, TT. That's the song I'm looking for. When you start on this journey, if you don't have, I'm not saying that first step ain't going to be shaky. I'm not saying that. I'm saying if you do the work and you have the joy and you accept the newness of what you're doing, your new journey, that you're redefining you're claiming ownership because you're a small business and you are the doorkeeper of you and we're honoring our new rules and we're doing all the things, that becomes the foundation of your joy. So when happiness comes along because events have started to happen and you feel the excitement of the moment, that's icing on the cake. I'm not out here seeking the happiness first and then thinking I'm going to add the joy back on the back end. It ain't going to work that way. You may think it will, but where has that gotten you so far? Nowhere. Happiness does not give you the power to choose, create, or sustain yourself when your back is up against the wall. That's why you ain't nothing working, because you're not happy about the thing. You know, these people in my job, they aggravate me and I just want to be happy. Why can't I just date a man and just be happy? Because we are setting ourselves up for failure asking for that. We are setting ourselves up for failure. When I tell you I got my whole life, and here I was on my little topic, accepting joy. Mine was just accepting joy. Because once you understand it, you got to be able to accept it, that you are allowed to have it. Number one, it is your right to have it. And like the song say, the world didn't give it and it can't take it away. So let's use JoJo's Confessions and Conversations, because we're always going to talk about me. Is when times have been difficult for me, and I think, see, you do things, but then you read them. People put them so much more eloquently in books, right? And you do things and you don't realize that's what you're doing until you read it. So I've been through some things. And then at some point on the journey, I decided from this point, what I will not do is base my thought process and where I'm going on all these external things that I cannot control. Remember in 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, we talked about your circle of concern and your circle of influence. If I focus on my circle of influence, which is what I can immediately change, then my circle of concern will take care of itself. So when I was going through, I could only focus on me and the girls and bettering myself. And when I focused on that, everything else didn't matter to me, because my destiny wasn't changing, right? And if I'm steady moving toward this point, external things are not going to. That's why things can be going on and I'm calm. Or there can be everybody else is stressed about a thing and I'm not. Because I've worked hard to develop that foundation of the thing first. Because in the beginning, I would have been right there with you panicking, Lord, what we gonna do? Jesus, I would have been right there with you complaining, I ain't got this. And now I don't participate in that thing because that thing doesn't matter to me, because it doesn't affect me, because at the core of what I've established is my foundation, and my foundation is not going anywhere, which it says joy is the freedom and the ability to make conscious decisions in the face of seeming disasters, by accepting and acknowledging that you are a created being on a divine journey and that nothing but the divine can stop you. So you mean to tell me I'm divinely created to do this thing and only the divine can stop me, and he ain't stopped me yet. So I'm going to stop for why, as Rosie says. For why am I stopping though? But if your foundation isn't set, right? Then when the seeming disaster comes along, because everything can be a disaster if you allow it to be. Jojo, you don't see that this happening? I sure do. But I'm focused on my circle of influence and not my circle of concern. And some of us spend 85% of our time in our circle of concern, where we are worried about things that we cannot control. And if we could take that 85% and put it into our circle of influence, the things that you could immediately change, then your circle of concern would change. But you would rather be bothered with the external instead of doing the work of the internal. And that's why, let's bring it all the way back. That's why it can seem funny. It can seem hard. You can't understand why this didn't work, why this didn't work. And that's why guilty, you'll say, I just want to be happy. I'm guilty of that up until this morning when I read the difference between the two. Happiness is a response to where you are and what happens to you while you're there. Happiness is the quest for temporary pleasure. I don't want no temporary thing. I don't want to set myself up for failure anymore. So I'm not going to say I just want to be happy anymore. So we're taking that out of the vocabulary. And sometimes you can say things like that and it's that simple. Okay, I'm not going to do that anymore. And now you're free to move on. Thank you, Miss Tiffany. I knew it was in there somewhere. That my joy may be in you. Period. That's a whole full sentence. Until we're ready to come to the realization of that, though, we will be seeking the happiness. We will be seeking happiness. And that is why I say this all the time. That's why you can pray and your problem never goes away. That's why you can go to church and you can shout and pray and be dipped in holy oil and the things stay the same, because the happiness of the moment is gone. I called it the excitement of the moment. You know, the music is gone. There's nobody else shouting, the clapping, all of it is gone. And you don't have that feeling that you had anymore, but yet you're left with your problem. And that's the purpose of the Fearless Morning Show. When I was going through, I read every self-help book I could think of to get me out of depression. How do you deal with postpartum? What do you do when you have suicidal thoughts? What do you do when you try to kill yourself and it didn't work? What do you do then? I needed instructions on, JoJo, do step 1 and then do step 2 and then do step 3. And that is the purpose of the Fearless Morning Show. I ain't giving you nothing great, bigger idea that you can't quite grasp. I want to give you an idea and say, okay, step 1, you do this. Step 2, this is what you do. Step 3, because you can get lost in the words of things. That's why people say they don't understand the Bible, or they can't understand what the pastor is saying, or they don't understand how to move forward. You get lost in the words of things when you just need the actions of the things. Does that make sense? Meaning you just need to know today, right now, for the next 60 seconds. Because for me, I can only think in seconds. I couldn't even think for a whole minute. What you mean you want me to do something for a whole 2 minutes? Like, my brain couldn't handle that. Can you tell me what to do for these next few seconds? Sit down and be quiet. Okay, I can do that. And then the next thing after you do that, this is what you do. That's the purpose of the Fearless Morning Show. That's the purpose of Be Fearless Incorporated, the Only Live Past Crazy Specialist. That is my purpose. And I don't take that lightly. I'm a firm believer that if I can help one sister and or brother, right, who can take that information back to her family. They will then change their community, and we will change the world. It is that simple, but yet we make it that complicated because we don't want to do the work first. You've got to know that you're investing in you to do the work. And in all of that is accepting the joy of that you're starting on this journey, and it is yours and it is yours alone. And so if you accept this journey, it's yours if you choose to accept it, right? If you accept this journey, then you got to accept the joy of it and not apologize for the change now that you're doing. It is yours it is yours. I think sometimes we forget that we're out here looking for something that is already yours, but you're in your circle of concern and not your circle of influence. Meaning you're so focused on things that don't concern you, the things that do concern you, that you could impact, you ain't even paying them no attention. Your greatest impact is with yourself first. Period. So if I can change who I am first, then it's a ripple effect. Everything else comes out. Yeah, I done got my whole life today. And that one paragraph did it. Joy is the freedom and ability to consciously choose in the face of a seeming disaster by accepting and acknowledging that you are a creative being on a divine journey and that nothing but the divine can stop you. And the words that get me is to make a conscious choice in the face of seeming disaster. And I wish I could think of that quote. There's a quote I shared a while back that I knew things was going to get better, and that was the only thing that kept me sane until they did. Because y'all, when the lights was off and the gas was off and the water was off and I was getting gas out the lawnmower to put in a car, when I was in the face of a seeming disaster, it was me knowing that this was not it. So my thought process is, this is what I have to do. Yep, my lights got cut off. Maybe I need to get a better job. I can't raise 2 kids on $12.26 an hour. Let me do this thing because it ain't as bad. And I had to tell myself, Jojo, it's not as bad as you think it is. Ain't nobody trying to kill you like they were a couple of months ago. Is there a knife to your throat this time? Do you have a black eye, busted lip? Did you get pushed out of a moving car this time? Or are you free and living, period? And so sometimes you have to focus on things that you can immediately impact. And what I could immediately impact was I could get a better job. So I wouldn't have to call the company and say, can I make my payments in half, and can you please turn on my lights because I have a preemie who needs medicine, and I don't have to tell that story anymore. So in the face of a seeming disaster, joy says you can still boldly do what you're supposed to do because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It says and that's what I was doing. I was acknowledging, because let me tell you how I used to pray. And this puts it better. Acknowledging that you're a creative being on a divine journey. I would say, listen here, excuse me, Lord, universe, Jesus, all of y'all, this here has got to be fixed and changed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove myself and go take care of the kids. I'm going to go back to school, get my master's degree. I'm going to go back to school, get my PhD. I'm going to upgrade my resume. I'm going to get a better job. So while I'm doing that, I'm going to let you do what you're supposed to do, and I'm going to handle my business. When I tell you, it's all in your mindset. So when seeming disasters come, it doesn't rattle you. I don't get, oh, Lord, Jojo, they said this. Okay. I'm calm about the thing now. Because joy is the knowledge of the thing. It's the ability to stand in the knowledge of spiritual truth and be in the face of any and all physical experiences. That's my confession and conversation. I didn't know that's what it was. She put it way more eloquently than I did. Joy is an internal process grounded in truth, the ability to trust the wisdom of the divine and faith in perfect and perfecting process of life. That's what that is. Joy is a state of being. Happiness is a demonstration or expression reliant on a series of events. So on this wonderful Monday, I done got my whole life together. Now I learned the difference between happiness and joy. I hope this has helped somebody. You change the world by being yourself. Yoko Ono. And then the second quote is, in order to write about life, first, you must live it. Love that. First, you got to live it, boo. And you change the world by being yourself. Let's focus on. And if you never read, do I have an extra copy of that? I'll see if I have an extra copy. But it's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. All these libraries are giving out free digital books. Go read that book and read the part where it talks about focusing on your area of concern, or your circle of influence and your circle of concern. And then write out what you're focusing in your circle of concern. Things that ain't got nothing to do with you. And then focus on. Yes, it's Joy Tuesday. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Miss Chantel. It's Joyful Tuesday. So read that book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Did I say that right, Miss Leah? I know you read that book. That's the right name for it, right? Or somebody, Tiffany, have you read that book? 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. But you go read that book. All the books are free with everything that's going on in the world. You can read that. You can listen to it. It's all good. Skip straight to the part where you focus on your area of concern or your area of influence. Skip to that part. And then you're going to see that there. So on this wonderful Tuesday, here's my little, thank you, Tiffany. Here's my little note for the day. This was my topic, accepting joy. But clearly, that was not what I was meant to talk about today. There's a difference between joy and happiness. Y'all done got my whole life together. Thank y'all for being here with me as I did. All right, so I will be doing a 5-day self-care is gangster guided journey. And in those 5 days, you'll get a prompt every day that's going to help you on your journey of self-care. And we're going to be gangster about it, and we're not apologizing for it, okay? We're not. If you want to join me, we'll be starting April the 6th. So I'll be sending it out over the weekend. But you need to text the number 5 keys, the number 5 and KEYS to 33777. And somebody can type that in for me, because I don't want to move the screen. 5 keys to 33777. If you text it there, you'll be on the email list so that I can send you out. And this is free. It is going to be a free 5-day guided journey. And it's all about self-care is gangster. I want you to join me on it. These are questions and things that I've asked myself over the years, and it doesn't stop. I don't want you to think that the journey stops. It continues. Okay? It continues. And the more you grow, the more you learn. The more you learn, the more you grow. And you just keep going up and up. And then when you look back, you'll be like, man, I can't believe I used to let stuff like that upset me. I can't believe I used to be focused on that. So text the word 5 keys to 33777. And so you can get on the mailing list. And y'all just have to read this definition of joy one more time. Thank you for joy. 33777. So 7 is 3 times and 3 is twice. So 33777. Thank you so much for joining the Fearless Morning Show. Please make sure you share the show, because sharing is caring. If your friends and family don't have Facebook, send them over to the YouTube channel. My name is Yamitra JoJo Waddell, the only Live Past Crazy specialist. So what better place to be than here with me? I'm so glad that y'all are here with me on this journey, and that y'all watch me walk it out, talk it out, and hopefully it will help you. And today my polo topic was accepting joy. But clearly we talked about the difference between joy and happiness. And I've got to close with this. Joy is courage to boldly go where you are advised not to go. Joy is the freedom and ability to make conscious choices in the face of a seeming disaster by accepting and acknowledging that you are a creative being on a divine journey, and nothing but the divine can stop you. Nothing but the divine can stop. Y'all, if that don't make you feel good and make you want to go do freaking cartwheels out here, I don't know. That makes me want to cry. I love that. I think that has just earned a spot on my wall of quotes right there. Happiness, on the other hand, does not give you the power to choose, create, or sustain yourself. Period. When your back is up against the wall. Joy, by virtue of its nature, gives you the ability to stare down wolves. I absolutely love that. Absolutely love that. So on this wonderful Tuesday morning, it's Joyful Tuesday. Chantel said, joy on Tuesday. Tuesday joy. Now that we've learned the difference between joy and happiness, can we exercise? Now that we know, here's the thing, now that we know, if we do it again, it's on purpose, okay? I've always told my kids and myself, Jojo, now that you know, if you continue to do the thing, it's on purpose. So if we continue to say we want to be happy, it is on purpose. Instead, we should say, I'm seeking joy, or I'm establishing my joy. And when I choose those words on purpose, because my intent, y'all know the 3 questions I asked, what is my intent, what is my intention, and why am I saying yes? When I say this is the joy that I'm establishing, my intent is different. Instead of what is going to make me happy, I just want happiness, because I'm not seeking a series of events. Honey, I need something permanent up in this piece. And so we are establishing joy here, okay? That's what we are doing. So please make sure that you replace that word today. We're not seeking happiness, you're establishing joy. We're not seeking happiness, we are establishing joy. Period. So I hope you have an amazing Tuesday. Don't forget to join me April the 6th. We will be starting that 5-day self-care journey. Self-care is gangster journey. Text 5 keys, the number 5 and the word keys. That's all one word. 5 keys to 33777 to make sure that you're on the mailing list so that I can send it out to you. You will get something every morning to start your day. Okay? I promise. And if nothing else is going to give you something to think about, it's going to give you a different mindset to make you things that make you go, Arsenio Hall. I can never think of his name until I do that. So on this wonderful Tuesday, we have definitely learned the difference between joy and happiness. Ooh, that difference, honey, is amazing. So I hope this has helped somebody. If it has, please let me know so I know that I'm not talking to myself. And I will see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning. Hope you have an amazing day. And then I will post the information about the 5-day journey. I'm going to post that today. But if you text 5 keys to 33777, sign up for the email list. It will be starting April the 6th. All right, guys. Have an amazing Tuesday. And I'll see you here bright and early tomorrow morning. Have a good one.